UK here.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
A couple of days since the weekend's result, a game you had the chances to win, but does the point become more important now following the results to the title challenges?
Well, we weren't satisfied with the result, obviously, and looking and watching the game back more, and then with the other results even more, obviously. But I think it shows the competitiveness of every match, where the league is at the moment, how difficult and how much we have to value every point and every win, because you really have to earn it in the league. And now, change the scenario. We are back in the Champions League here again a year later, and ready for tomorrow.
100% record in the Champions League away at Inter Milan, a team you played last season as well. What are you expecting from them tomorrow night?
Well, a very similar context to last year. Obviously, where the two teams are at the moment is a bit different. A new manager as well, that I think has given them some other things in their identity and the way they play. But obviously, we know a super competitive team, a team that is dominating the league, and a really tough game.
Fitness update, please. Piero Hincapié, Ricardo Calafiori and Max Dalman weren't in training, so I expect they're not available for tomorrow. Christian Mosquera, Kai Havertz, both in the squad.
Yeah.
And is there any other fitness updates you could give
that's
us?
all.
And then it was a tough day for Victor Gyökeres at Nottingham Forest at the weekend. A game that probably came after his best performance for Arsenal against Chelsea. Does that show the scrutiny of being an Arsenal forward, or does he need to do better?
I think it goes for all the nines in the league, and how difficult it is to play that position nowadays, with the physicality, with the dominance of the centre backs and the quality of them, and the lack of spaces as well in most of the times during the match for them to exploit. But that's about consistency, about going again. We know his work rate. He's really trying to give his best, and we need to continue to work.
Garmish from Sky.
Hey there, Mikel.
Hi.
How important is this game against Inter, not only to try and secure that top two finish, but also for the momentum of your season?
Yes, for that, because every game in the Champions League, when you have the opportunity to achieve something, you have to grab it. And tomorrow we're really going to have to earn it against a top side. We know that. And then that we prepare every game, obviously, to win it. And the urgency is going to be the same tomorrow.
Are you having to think about your team selection in particular with this game? You've had 4 away games in a row. Well, it will be the 4th one. And you've got a huge game on Sunday against Manchester United.
Yeah. It's very particular for every game, I'm afraid, because every game have a different situation. The players are in different stages as well. And we will prepare the game, the lineup and the finishers in the best possible manner to win the game.
Just how big a challenge has it been, those 4 away games? I think it's happened 3 times now in your tenure here at Arsenal, to have 4 away games in 4 different competitions.
That's the first time, no?
I mean, I did a bit of research. It looked like it's happened twice before. I could be completely wrong. I'll probably trust you more. But how big a challenge has it been? Because we've just gone through a period of time, notoriously, when there's loads of fixtures during the Christmas time. Now you've had 4 in 10 days, all away from home. Yeah.
Well, we have to adapt to that. That's the beauty of playing different competition and being in the latest stages of those in all of them, and that's what we want. So I think that's a blessing. That's something really, really positive. And tomorrow we have the last one before we play at home again against United.
Tom from Football London.
Hi, Mikel. I know we always talk about the next game is the most important game, and Darmesh asked you about the Manchester United fixture. Is this a week where the next 2 games are the most important games, and they both kind of feature into one another?
We keep tricking the players, and the next one is the most important one of the season, and then 3 days later the same. That's the demands, that's the expectations that we have, that's the standards that we have set as well as a team and as a club, and we are living with that, with joy, with enthusiasm and with a lot of energy, as requested.
And if I may ask you a tactical question, for so long you've played with inverted wingers, with right footers on the left and left footers on the right. Stylistically, how does that work? Why do you benefit most from choosing that style of setup, and why is that the way you approach wing play?
Well, sometimes it's about the preference of the players, where they feel more comfortable, and the way we are raising players at the moment, most of them want to play inverted foot. They feel much more comfortable as well. In the manner that we play, we adapt to that. We adapt to the qualities. The fact that in some areas we have only inverted footed, especially on the left unit, is not ideal. when that happens, but we adapt to the circumstances and what we have available.
Charlie, the son.
Mikel, do you think you're going to make a few changes tomorrow?
Let's see. After tomorrow, after a really good night of sleep, how we decide tomorrow morning.
And what's the difference between the Arsenal team that's going to play tomorrow night and the one that was here last season? Due to the experiences that you had both in the Champions League and in the Premier League, how much stronger are you?
Well, there are some different players as well. Let's see. Different coach for them as well. I think the task is going to be equally difficult, but I think we had watching it back a really strong performance here. The margin that we lost the game by a penalty, that obviously we all saw what happened there. Very disappointed. So we're going to know tomorrow how they set up. We have very clear idea what we have to win the game. I will try to apply that to be better than them.
Hi, Mikel. Arsenal are the only team in the Champions League this season that are unbeaten. Do you think that from here to the next round that the results here in terms of, obviously, bar a miracle, you are going to go through to the last 16, but can that run possibly have an impact on the last 16 and onwards in terms of form and whatnot?
I don't know. Performance and results have an impact emotionally on the team to a level of confidence, and we know that the match tomorrow is to come here and win the game, and that's a step that we didn't do last year, and we have to show that we are better than last year.
One thing that was quite noticeable from the Forest game was Martin Odegaard. I think in the game when he had one pass in the final third across the whole match. In terms of going forward, are you tempted to start Eberechi Eze, and what more does Eze need to do to possibly break into this team?
Depends on the game, depends on the type of opponent that we see, and then performances throughout the game. We see things that we can do, how we can hurt the opposition more, and we have the ability to change that.
James, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel. I think it's your 33rd game of the season tomorrow. And just looking ahead, I mean, it could be, I think, a 65-game season if you get all the way in all four competitions. I mean, do you think everything that your squad's been through to this point tells you that you can cope with that?
Yes, but I think we have to go game by game. We can try to look ahead, but what is coming and what is relevant is the next match. And sometimes we've been thinking a lot about the future, the next week or 2-3 weeks time, and something happens that you have to adapt to the circumstances. So go game by game, enjoy the journey that we are in, because it's great, and go for it every single game, and let's see what the next one brings.
How important is it then for you that you've got a top 8 finish so you don't have the 2 extra games?
That's massive. We know that, and if we win tomorrow, we know that that's going to be the case, so let's make it happen.
We'll take some questions from Italian media now.
Buonasera, Mikel.
Good evening. Congratulations. You're top of the Champions League table and the Premier League table, and that's because you're very diligent and studious. Football's a very fast game these days. How have you been able to be patient with your ideas even when the going got tough, and how were you able to make sure that you had that faith about things getting better? The first thing you need to do is convince your footballers. When the players look at you, you need to see that they're listening to what they have to do. That's always been the idea. And then we'll see it game after game. It'll be a different fixture tomorrow. There will be some times when we'll be dominating proceedings, and there'll also be times when the opposition are on top, but we'll see. We'll always try and adapt. Good evening, Mikel. I'm over here. Last year, among all of Inter's matches in the Champions League, the game against Arsenal was perhaps the only one, besides the final, where they actually came away with more than they deserved. In your opinion, what do you think Arsenal need to do differently this year, besides the fact that you're going to respond saying by winning, okay, I've already called your bluff on that, so you need to say something else. I want to ask you something else. We'll see. This is a match against a slightly more aggressive team. They have a lot of talent and the ability and the mentality. We'll see how the game pans out. We have a very clear idea in terms of the match we want to play, and then we'll see whether, when we have opportunities to score goals and try and dominate proceedings, all that's very important. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, you and Gabriel Jesus had a little wander around the pitch. You know San Siro very well because you came here as a player, 4-0 against Milan, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I played here. I had my final game in 25 years ago with Paris Saint-Germain. So it's a very important stadium in my career. Why did you have a wander around this pitch? I always like to have a little wander around the pitch and try and figure out the atmosphere and speak to my players. Good evening. You mentioned Christian Kivu earlier on, and you said that Inter play slightly differently under Kivu this season. Besides the aggressiveness, what have you been impressed about this new Inter side under Kivu? And given you speak such good Italian, how have you learnt the language? Ultimately, every coach wants to impart their own identity. These are parameters that are very similar to what was already in place here. But he has left his mark because there are some slightly different players like Manuel Akanji, and he offers something differently defensively. We're very familiar with him in terms of the way he occupies space. And why Italian? Because I had some friends. I've always loved Italian culture. And if I can speak another foreign language, all the better.